Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sprint 256 review. It was a normal 2 week sprint with a holiday weekend in the middle. Let's get started. I'll start with the overview, Gilbert on the UI, Adam on providers, Joe on the platform, and Keenan on the API. As you can see, it was a pretty light sprint with 47 PRs merged this sprint, and a kind of an even spread over enhancements, bugs, and other. And over to Gilbert on the UI.
Thanks, Jason. So for the UI, Jason updated Yarn to version 4.6. I updated Babel Traverse on Morphe, also did an update for Path2 regexp and tar. Joe did a Rails 7.1, 7.0 compatible changes PR. I updated Morphe tar package. Jason removed jQuery from the audit exclusion list. I updated NC-regex to 5.0.1 on Morphe. Also updated Semver regex, marked decode URI component, UA parser.js, and jQuery UI all on Morphe. And then the bot bumped elliptic from 6.6 to 6.6.1. Next slide. On UI service, we'll add one pair of those merged. Jason updated Yarn to version 4.6. That's it for the UI. Next is Adam.
Thanks, Gilbert. So Smart State this sprint. So last sprint we talked a little bit about the new RPM FFI gem that we updated to work with newer versions of CentOS and Enterprise Linux. So this sprint we are now using that in Smart State to be able to parse RPM SQLite 3 package databases. So if you're doing smart state scans of EL8 or EL9 machines, you'll be able to get the RPMs, versions, and everything listed like you would have on CentOS 7. For Amazon this sprint, we updated the AWS instance types in a couple of new regions. They look like US Gov regions, but if you're using those, they're there now. And LJ and I had a Rails 7 fix where the as JSON method was changed to not persist keys with no values. So we made a change to make it consistent with the behavior on Rails 7.0 and 7.1. And OpenStack, we had a community user put a fix into Fog OpenStack to fix stack creation. They had a class namespace issue that was causing the provision of a stack to blow up. So we got that merged in Fog OpenStack, and this bumps the requirement to pull that fix in. And I believe that's it for providers. Over to Joe.
Thanks, Adam. For platform enhancements this sprint, let's see, Keenan improved the output for the generate lock file rake task, so it'll show the bundler inject files that are present. Keenan also added the method all attribute names. This was created so it could include both aliases and attributes and to improve discoverability of attributes. Using that, Keenan was able to change deprecate attribute to no longer create a virtual attribute, since we now can discover aliases using this prior change. Next, Adam bumped the ManageIQ Smart State version to get the EL8 and 9 RPM support. And finally, the bot updated English translations from code. Next slide. For bugs this sprint, Brandon fixed the build issues in the Amazon Smart State container by upgrading to UBI 9 and Ruby 3.1. Jason fixed an issue with Brakeman not properly detecting the engine's lock file. Adam dropped the explicit CGI gem version from the gem file by imposing Ruby 3.1.3 as the minimum, since that affects that has the CVE fix we're looking for. For Rails 7.1, I fixed test stubbing. Since the path is slightly different in Rails 7.1, the stubbing was actually calling the messaging client on MIQQ, and we didn't want that, so I changed it to properly stub out that messaging client. Also for Rails 7.1, I fixed the provisioning manager belongs to association to fully qualify it. Previously, somehow Rails 7.0 found the provisioning manager without the fully qualified path, but changing it to 7.1 is more explicit and clearer. Next slide.
Okay, great. So we did a few changes in the API. Joe modified the way that we test, or at least one test modified so that we're not trying to match every single attribute, which is causing some test failures. So he used subhash equality for each of the entries. I exposed, as Joe had mentioned in the API, I exposed attribute aliases and list of attributes, which allows us to work with columns, virtual columns, and also attribute aliases. This was necessary for 7.1. And then Joe also, in his quest to move us on to Rails 7.1, for the comparison in the body, made some changes to handle hash with a different axis. On to Jason.
And that's all for our Sprint 256 review. The next review, Sprint 257, will be on March 5th. And I'd like to thank all the presenters today, all the contributors to Manage IQ, and our community. Thanks, everyone.